Vacha here from Solo Guitars. Today we're going to be staining this gorgeous quilted maple. We're going to start off with some navy Saman, sand it all back, and then apply a nice coat of Saman and turquoise. The navy will bring out the open grain and all this figuring, and then once we get in the lighter color of the turquoise, it'll really pop. So the whole point of this first coat is to make it darker than our final coat, so that when we sand it back, all that beautiful figure will be a darker color than the main coat. So we're just gonna work that in there. I don't want to saturate it too much because it is a veneer, and I don't want to get it to bubble. We'll just take our time and give it a nice even coat. All right, so we're just gonna let this dry, and once it's all dry, we're gonna go at it with some high grit Kovacs sandpaper. Come to think of it, I really like this color. I think it's showing a little bit lighter than it actually is on camera, but we're gonna go ahead and also apply the same color to the mahogany on the back. And once we sand this back and apply the turquoise, we'll have a very light blue on top and a darker navy blue all over the sides on the mahogany. So let's just go ahead and stain the whole guitar. Alright, we have this all stained now. I'm not super concerned if I've missed any small spots, because I will be applying another 2 coats of the Saman navy blue to the back and the sides. And so that'll cover up any open grain that we missed in the first coat. We put the lacquer over. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sand off all this dark navy blue with a 320 Kovacs sandpaper, and then we'll apply the turquoise stain. Yeah, I'm happy with that. We're just gonna take a damp cloth, not saturated, just damp. Just wipe all that off. Wipe off all that dust. You can already see the quilt coming through. Just dry that off. And then just another one. So as I mentioned before, this is not an A stock body, it's a B stock body. What B stock is anything that doesn't pass our QC for whatever reason. The particular reason for this body not passing QC is actually this line that you see running down the body. That is a glue line where the joint in the book matching of both sides of this was not perfect, and so the glue has actually penetrated through the surface. It is not stainable, so what we're gonna do is after we stain it turquoise, we're just gonna give it a nice white line, and that'll be our workaround for this particular B stock model. So I'd just like to point out that when I was sanding this, you might have heard me say I used 320. Some people think that's too high. Now, if it was a solid cap, I might have gone a little bit more aggressive on the sandpaper at first, just to have to save some elbow grease. But because it is a veneer, I really did not want to risk using a heavy grit and then having it scratch it up, or worse, go right through the veneer. So it did take me quite some time with the 320 grit, but at least I knew that I was taking off very, very thin layers and I would not go through the veneer. So now that we have that all sanded off and cleaned up, we're gonna take our turquoise and just give it a light staining. And you can see how that darker blue is showing through the turquoise. Just gonna wait for this to dry, and we're just gonna give it one more coat before we start applying the lacquer. Okay, now that we have our body taped up on both sides, we're just gonna go ahead and spray paint that center line to cover up that glue spot. So now that we have our stain done, we're gonna go ahead and apply our water-based gloss lacquer from Saman, just using a regular foam brush. We'll do about 3 to 4 coats and then reevaluate to see if we need any more. So we've done 4 coats of the Saman water-based clear lacquer and gloss, and we're just gonna go ahead and wet sand it with some 600 grit Kovacs, and then we'll do a few more coats of the gloss clear coat and see where we're at then. So we've applied 4 coats of the clear coat, followed by 600 grit wet sanding, and I've done another 2 coats of the clear coat. Now, how I decide how many clear coats I want to do before I wet sand really all depends on how the clear coat goes on. If I have too many ridges or dust particles that have fallen on it or whatnot, then I would sand between fewer clear coats. Our first round, we had 3 coats that went on pretty evenly. So I applied that 4th coat before I started to do the wet sand with the 600 grit. This time around, I'm 2 coats in and I'm seeing quite a few ridges in there. So I'm not gonna do the next 2 coats. I'm actually gonna start wet sanding it right now. So we'll wet sand it again. We'll apply another few clear coats, wet sand, and then another few clear coats. And in the next video, you guys can see us with the final product. We'll go through the last clear coat and the buffing. Stay tuned.